And we are live. G'day, g'day. I'm back once again, and today we have got Sekiro on the go. So when this stream kicks off in about another minute, we're going to be exploring probably my favorite FromSoft game that they've made. So I can't fix this camera up a little bit. We're going to be going through a brand new game. Haven't decided which playthrough or ending I'm going to do yet, but it's probably going to be the Dragon Purification one, since it's the most complex one, and I do enjoy that part of the game. So we should be kicking off in about a minute. So I know Sekiro didn't get the popularity it deserved when it came out, and has since been overtaken in popularity by another FromSoftware game, Elden Ring, but personally I think Sekiro is probably one of the better games that they've done. The game is entirely skill-based, and you can't just over-level to defeat your opponents. So, in about a minute we'll kick off the initial opening cinematics, and then we'll get stuck into the game. So yeah, this should be a lot of fun. I'm going to try and keep my speedrunning strats to a minimum because I've played this game a lot over the past 3 years, and it should be pretty cool. So let me just adjust the camera a little bit and we'll be good to go. Alrighty then, let's get ready to get this show on the road. That's a bit better. Right. Alrighty then, so if anyone just jumping in, this is Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, probably my favourite FromSoftware game. We're just going to get started right now.
そして戦場で拾われた狼は修行の末熟達の忍びとなった。忍
忍びの掟は忘れまい。親の次に大事なもの、お前の心に刻むがよい。あれが今日からお前のある命をとして守る。たとえ奪われるとも必ず取り戻す。よいな、狼よ。
一心の国取りから24年。アシナの国は斜陽にあり、狼の忍びは全てを失っていた。育ての義父も守るべき主も。
忍びよ、目覚めてください。あなたの主のために。
Alrighty then, here we are. We've just gained control of the game. We are Sekiro, as you can see here. And so the journey begins once again. So we'll just come over here and grab this item. Kuro's Wolf, your destiny awaits you at the Moonview Tower. Escape from the well and find the tower bathed in moonlight. Even without a blade, you can reach it. Stay silent, stay vigilant. Alright, so, like I said, there is going to be a slight mixture of speedrun strats, I guess, because I've played this quite extensively. So, I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see where my first death comes from. Of all things. Just see. So we don't really have any items except for the homeward idol, which is our way of returning to any idols when we finally get to it. But let's get the show on the road. Here we are, the Ashina Reservoir. Now, this section here, we got a couple of choices. We can shimmy across the wall, which is what I'm doing now, or you can even jump across it. Go into a crouch. As you can see, the game's prompting us to use stealth, and it's a very, very useful tactic. So one of the things when the game first came out was that you had to kill ingeniously, which means take every advantage that you can in order to win. So in this case, I will be doing that quite a lot. So as you can see, the soldiery of the Ashina already have a pretty fixed idea of what's going on. We'll eavesdrop with this guy. So yeah, we're just going to sneak our way through to the tower, which is over here. And one of the cool things I've always found with FromSoftware games is that if you can see a location, such as the castle way up there, you will eventually be able to get there. The whole world is essentially interconnected. So we'll sneak our way down here. Oh. Another eavesdrop opportunity. So as you can see, the game's basically drip feeding us some information. As per most FromSoft games, it's really good with just telling a story without telling a story. It's not going to throw it at you. It's something that you watch and you understand. So here we go. Let's work our way up to the Moonview Tower and that hole up there. Creep our way across here, and there's Kuru. Oh lord. So now we have Kusabimaru, the katana that we end up using for basically the entirety of the game. So unlike most other FromSoft games where you've got a wide variety of weapon choices, this game is very much based on swordplay, and Kusabimaru becomes that weapon that we use for the entirety of the game. But as the info tells us, a shinobi's role is to kill, but even a shinobi must not forget mercy. Mantra the blade itself may manifest. And then we've got a bit more control here. So we have another chat with Kuro here, and he's going to give us the our healing item. So now we have the healing gourd. So the healing gourd refills whenever we rest, and it allows us to refill our health. Now we only have a limited number of them, like every FromSoft game. So yeah. So, at this point in a normal playthrough, for somebody's first playthrough, you don't get this option to give him the charm. So the charm kind of makes the game a little easier if you keep a hold of it, and if you give it over to Kuro, it makes the game a little bit more difficult. So, for the purposes of this playthrough, I'm going to be keeping the charm, but in a future playthrough I'm more than likely going to do a no charm run, which will increase the difficulty substantially. And I have done them in the past, but for this playthrough, my first playthrough on YouTube, I'm going to keep a hold of it just for the time being. Alright, so now we've got control again, and it's going to tell us that we can heal, which pretty useful, right? So we'll close that, we'll open that up, we'll fix our healing gourd. And now, as you can see, we've only got like 5% health, so I am going to quickly heal up. And the reason I came up the stairs straight away is we've got some pellets here. So pellets are like a short-term healing sort of mechanic in the game. They're never going to heal you up completely, but they'll do a pretty good job. So let's get out of this tower and start playing the game. Now, the game's going to throw quite a bit of information at us straight away, so I'm just going to let it do it. So, posture and death blows. Now, this is really, really cool. It tells you from the very start of the game that one of the key elements is to break an opponent's posture, and attacking them is how to do it. So, once you get a posture break, which is indicated by the red circle on your opponent, it allows you to death blow them, which instantly kills them. And this will become way more important when we're dealing with enemies that have a lot more posture. So, we come across this first guy. What I always like to do is run down here and stealth death blow. There we go, this guy. Oh. And that's the other part of the mechanics of the game. It's very much based on being able to block your opponent's attacks. I kind of whiffed it the first time, but should get a little bit better from this point onward. So we'll come down here and we'll come across the next guy. Hey buddy. So here's the deflection. So sometimes the best way of dealing with some enemies in the game is to just deflect their attacks. So at the beginning, at least, a lot of enemies only have 1 or 2 attacks concurrently. Most of the basic enemies only have the 1, but when you deflect an enemy's attack, it damages their posture. So the posture is like a stamina bar, essentially, and as soon as you crack through that stamina bar, you can do a death blow. So it's a really, really cool thing. It's all based on timing. The way I like to think of it is, if the Dark Souls games ended up making like the turn-based, the idealized JRPG turn-based game into a more action-based game, Sekiro is very much a Dance Dance Revolution game where it's all based on timings and making sure that you take advantage of those moments that are presented to you, and also not to get into combats that you probably shouldn't. So let's do this. Again, I played it quite a bit. So then we got these two here. Now, what you shouldn't do in a game like this is run straight into them, because both of those guys could probably kill you without much trying. So you want to lure them at you one at a time and take them down one at a time. And yeah, it's going to prompt you that you can switch between your targets. So we'll take this guy first. Take you. Then we'll lure this guy out. Come on, buddy. Come on. And 2. Now, because I play this game a lot, the last thing I usually do is run through that door there. So I like to just jump up here, grapple onto this roof, stealth, drop, kill this guy here. And you can pretty much just carve your way through your opponents. So, alright, let's work our way up and around, and now we'll go up against Leader. So stronger enemies have a couple of death blow points, like this Leader here. Eventually we're going to come across generals and that other sort of thing. So just give me 1 second to check my stream. Why have you stopped? Oh. Shoot. See if that's fixed it. Is that better? I think that might be better now. Yeah, that's better. Whoops. My stream is acting up a little bit. Alright, let's do this. Oh, I should probably go back to the game. So yeah, I've played through this quite a bit, so I should be able to carve through these guys like a hot knife through butter. Alright. So you got a couple options coming over this way here. You can either head up to the bridge, or you can do the speedrun strat where you jump down to that door there, which is where we're heading. Whoopsie daisy. So for the purpose of this playthrough, I'm just going to head up to the bridge. So, seemed okay? What are you seeing there, Nathan? Give me a second. Is that working a little bit better? That's a little bit weird. Alright. Let's have a quick look and play. Is that to be a little awkward? It's a little odd. Just 1 second. My and sweet. Thanks, Nathan. All right, let's just jump straight back into this. All right. So, thanks for joining me. As I said at the beginning of the stream, this is just going to be a standard playthrough. I'm probably going to be doing the Dragon Purification ending, which is the most difficult of the 4 endings, and it's mostly going to be like a lore-based one, so I'm going to try and eavesdrop on everybody I can eavesdrop on, and work my way through and defeat every boss, at least for this playthrough. So let's see. We do that. Now again, I love so much about this game. It encourages you to be creative with how you dispatch some enemies. And we are about to get to the first, I don't know, scripted death of the game. much like every other... Whoops, I stuffed up there. Every other FromSoft game which has scripted deaths. As we go and try and save Kuro from Lord Genichiro. Let's just heal up. Alright, need to go up one more level. Where are we? Alright. I'm not going to go over the bridge again. Alright, so speedrun strats. Whoop. Shoot, I stuffed up. Whoops. Let's heal up one more time and do this again. Let's try not to stuff up one more time. Alright. There we go. Cool. So now we're at the gateway, we're going to meet Kuro, and we're going to lose to Genichiro. I mean, I might do the fight pretty well, but it's a scripted death, so it doesn't really matter. So now we're about to enter probably one of the more iconic things that can be found in every FromSoft game, and you'll see it in a minute. And here we go.
Genichiro 殿。私はすまぬ。
お任せを。邪魔立てする巫女の忍び。足の手道。
Nope, that's a throw. Go for that posture. Nope. Now, what happened there was he did a thrust, but because I didn't have a skill called Mercury Counter, you can deflect it, but the timing window for it is extremely thin. And I knew it was coming, so I tried to dodge out of the way, but it's kind of got some tracking. That's okay, it's a scripted death, and the game is actually about to begin. And I can. Just not this time. Okay, so as you saw, we've lost our hand and now we've got a prosthetic, which will eventually be filled with different tools that we can use to defeat different enemies. And we're about to meet the old Sculptor, so here we are. So we just got a fair bit of lore there. Basically, after Lord Genichiro cut our arm off, we got dragged to the outskirts where we were gifted a new arm, which has the ability to have tools affixed to it. And we also learnt that Lord Kuro has the Dragon's Heritage, which is a mystic ability that his blood gives him. And now it's our job to get to Ashina Castle and rescue him. And all the different fights that we've got to look forward to on the way. So,
お前さんもそうじゃ。この荒れてらおかしなければ我が奥で寺を出て右手の広場にそうした者が一人妙なことになっておる者同士気が合うかもしれんな。
right, so here we go. Welcome to the Ashina outskirts. So over there in the temple we've got Hanbai the Immortal. So he's kind of like Sekiro, he can come back from the dead. He's basically a training dubby to help you learn how to use all of the different skills. But we don't really need to go up there. I might show you later once we get a certain item where his storyline actually becomes pretty important. But we'll commune with this idol. So idols are like checkpoints essentially. You can teleport to and from them, and when you rest at these you get your healing back, among other things that are replenished, and it gives you just the basic summation of what your character can do. So we'll rest here and then we'll head to the outskirts. So now we get to probably one of the coolest parts about this game, which I think really sets it apart from every other FromSoft game. You get a grappling hook. The whole game is designed with verticality in mind, and it becomes very clear later on that they've really thought their way through it. But to start with, and I'll show you in a second, the entirety of the game begins in the morning, and the first thing you come across is Ashina Castle. So our job is to ascend that, and to do so we have to work our way across the map. So let's work our way up. And it's going to tell me we can teleport through them, which is fine. But here we go. Now, ideally you meant to drop them there and do that, but I never do that. Let's head up here to start with. And it's going to prompt us that enemies have loot. Super useful. Alright, let's get this guy. And now I think I'm probably just going to go on autopilot and work my way through this. So let's go. Nope, not you. You. Aerial death blow. Come on. And we're about to get one of our first tools. So let's go up here. Yoink. Rest. And then we're going to get our shurikens. Now shurikens is a pretty cool item. Shuriken wheel allows us to basically become the iconic shinobi. We won't get that affixed just yet though, we don't really need it. And yeah, it's going to tell us that the old sculptor can affix them. It's all good. We're just going to run up this way though. So, we've got our first general. That's that dude standing over there. Now, the game is basically based on killing your opponents in, you know, creative ways and not getting into fights that you don't need to. So, what I'm going to do with this guy, let's jump down here, go to stealth. Yoink. Okay, so now the game's going to tell us about perilous attacks. There are two different types of perilous attacks. One is the sweep, which you jump over, and one is a thrust attack. Now the thrust attack you do end up getting a skill for pretty soon, which is pretty cool, and basically allows you to insta-kill anybody who tries to use it against you. But before then, as the thrust lands, you can still deflect it. Now, like I said earlier, the deflect timings are really, really sharp for the thrust attacks, so it's best to wait until we get access to the Mikiri counter. And piece of cake. And we got a prayer bead. So prayer beads you have to collect 4 of, and it basically increases your health meter and your posture meter. There's 40 of them in the game. There are, to my knowledge, about 4 of them missable depending on choices you make. And the game just crashed. Why did the game just crash? Whoops. And the second item we got was a gourd seed. So the gourd seed is what increases the number of heals that we get access to. So, we're back. Go to this different area here. So I think there's 6 enemies that roam around this area here. There's a dude with a gun over there. There's a mob of 3 that run around over here. There's a gun dude standing there, and there's a gun dude hidden in that building over there. But funnily enough, none of them are overly dangerous except for there's a big guy hiding just behind here. So what we'll do is we'll drop down here, stealth kill this guy. Drop down here, go to stealth. Kill this guy. Oop. Okay, let's run up here. Drop down here. Kill this guy. Hey, buddy. How you doing there? Just back away for a sec. There's somebody behind me. There you are. Now we got these 2. Hey guys. Now, one of the cool things you may have noticed is that there's 4 different types of deflect. There's a deflect if you hold the attack, hold the deflect. There's a deflect that you can do. Let's just heal up. So I can show you. There's 4 different scales to it. There's holding the deflect button, which only increases your posture and doesn't really affect the enemy. There's one that if you do it just a second too short, basically you build posture, you take chip damage, you deal a little bit of posture damage to them. There's the third one where if you time it almost right, which is that one there. It's the one that usually happens if you just start spamming the deflect, and then you've got the perfectly timed one, which gets all of the sparks that come off the sword. It's really, really cool when you can see like the different scales for it. So the game really encourages you to get your timings right. You get them right, you just destroy your opponents. So, and normally this guy will just circle me until I choose to attack him. And dead. Alright. That should be all those guys. Alright, so now we come across the first sort of split in the storyline. You come across this building here. You got poor guy there who's bleeding out against the wall, and you got this old woman here who's just well, she's a little bit senile and she's holding this bell. You can kind of see it emanating energy. Let's go and have a chat with them. Yep, he's been through better days. Alright, so we go check on his mother, who's standing over here. Where are we? So now we have the Young Lord's Bell Charm. So it's a charm that the game basically suggests that you take to the Sculptor of the Dilapidated Temple. And what it does is it opens up an entirely different area of the game. And because the game's been out for so long, most people know that it leads to Hirata Estate, which actually takes place prior to the events that are taking place now. And there's quite a few very, very useful items and characters that you meet in that area that become pretty important later on. So we're going to take this and we're going to head to the Sculptor, but we'll do so in a minute. There's two other things you need to do in this area before you even think of doing that. But the first one is killing these giant black cocks that walk around. Because underneath, and we're about to do something pretty bad, we're going to steal from Inosuke and his mother. You take this down here and you've got 3 golden items. So each of these items is a light coin purse, which is worth 100. Thanks, Nathan. Each one is worth 100, and all 3 of them are going to be pretty important because there's an item we need to pick up from a merchant that's very, very close. So we'll grab these, and then what we'll do is we're heading up there. So we'll head up this way. See if we can get close enough to that. No, we have to go around the other way. So another speedrun strat is you pass over this side here, drop down. This should be a Gaichin Sugar. Yeah, so Gaichin Sugar is like a temporary ability to make sure you can sneak better, and it actually has a pretty useful use essentially against a boss that's coming up that's just over there. But before we fight that boss, we want to go and grab a few items, so we'll just head over here. Now, how much money do I have? 154. I do not have enough at the moment. Alright, we gotta go and get this idol anyway. But if you head up here, you come across the first merchants. These guys, the memorial mob.
いさよう死者たちのご冥福のため品を売っておる見たところあんたは随分と殺しておるなご供養していきなされよ。
Now these memorial mob guys carry some pretty useful stuff, and in typical FromSoftware fashion, usually the items they have are gonna be pretty useful for the next challenges that you're going to be facing. So as you can see here, this guy's got some Litecoin purses, some sugar, Ungo sugar, which reduces the amount of damage you take. I mean, it does have its uses, but it's more effective if you learn your timings for all of your enemies. But the item that I'm really looking at here is Robert's firecrackers. So they're firecrackers that we attach as a prosthetic, and they have a use against the next 3 bosses. So I need 500 sen for that. So now that we know where they are, and I picked up those 3 coin purses before, I just need 50 sen and we should be able to pick these up. So alright, so our next location is over here. So what we'll do is we'll drop down, and yes, there is a guy standing right there with a cannon. That's a cannon. He's holding a cannon. So what we'll do is we'll avoid his attention using our ability to move pretty quickly over the map. We'll backstab him, and this guy's going to give us an upgrade material. I believe it is the black gunpowder. There it is. So you use these upgrade materials to, you know, perfect your prosthetics essentially, and there's a whole tree that you'll see very soon which you can use it for, and every enemy drops a certain number of them. I've also gained my first level effectively. So we'll just head up this way. Kill this cock that's standing here. We'll pop down here. And there's a merchant guy, so let's have a chat with him. Thanks for popping by, Nathan. Alright, so for 10 sen he gives you a little bit of information that comes in useful at the Harada estate. Now, if you've been to Harada, you don't need to talk to him about this sort of stuff, but talking to him unlocks part of his questline, so it's always worth paying the 10 just to get his questline moving forward.
ちょうどそんな顔してやした。今も何かお探しで？ねえ、旦那。お題さえいただけりゃ、他にも知りたいことをお教えできるかもしれやせん。ぜひ情報を買ってください。
Now, you can purchase the information here. He's just going to tell you about the fire barrel that they've got there. And it's actually more interesting if I go pick that up and come back and talk to this guy. Alright, so the next thing you want to do is have a chat with these guys over here. Alright, so that's another useful tidbit of information. There was a big battle at Arata, and that merchant guy you met down there before, the one with one eye, he was there, and we met him. So let's head over here and grab this idol, and then we'll head back to the dilapidated temple, and we will head to Harada, because there's at least 3 items that are extremely useful you can pick up there. And it's probably going to be the place I'll die for the first time. So, as you see here, enhanced physical attributes has now been unlocked, which means that when we get 4 prayer beads, we can increase our max stats. But can't do it right now, so we'll just travel back to the temple. But the first person you see here is Emma. Let's have a chat with Emma. Alright, so Emma's the one that gives us access to upgrading our healing gourd when we collect the gourd seeds, which you may remember me collecting before. So each one provides an additional use for the healing gourd, and there are 10 of them in total. 2 of them are missable, I believe, based on the choices you make in the game. Anyway, we'll present this. Alright, so we'll give a gourd seed and we'll increase the maximum number of uses.
悪い気はしません。貢献があれば奇妙と思うことでも勇んですべし。それが我が師道元の教えですので。
そうか。
ひょうたんの種を見つけたならばまた持ってきてください。薬水のかさ増しをしましょう。
Alright, we'll have a chat with Emma as well, see what else she can tell us.
少し顔を見せてください。白いあざ。これは生まれつきですか？流因を受けた者に現れるということか。あるいは兆しか。ああ、十分です。無礼をしました。すみません。白いあざは生まれつきではない。ならば、流因を受けた者に現れるということか。あるいは、兆しか。死体はまだわかりませんが、あなたの体は世の断りから外れているようです。返事あれば私のところへ来てください。
Alright, so that should exhaust most of her dialogue now. We're gonna head up, we're gonna have a chat with the Sculptor. We'll get an explanation for what the bell does. We'll also get a couple of skill books, which are pretty useful. So let's go and have a chat.
何？チーム。
ああ、この鈴だ。仏に備えると渡され
あなたにゆかりのある鈴でしょう。ならば、武士殿と話してみてはどうですか。仏のことならば、あの人が詳しいでしょう。
Alright, let's go and have a chat with the Sculptor. Oh.
なんだ。
勘が戻ってきたよ。ちっとは忍びらしくなってきたように見える。とっておきだ。
So this is the first skill book that we receive. It basically gives us the ability to learn Shinobi arts, which are a variety of different skills that have different effects, and it's all extremely useful stuff.
これは忍びの技じゃ。侍には真似できぬ。忍びの戦う術が書いてある。まあ、どうするかはお前さん次第よ。戦う術など忍びだけでもあるまいて。
So we get a bit of an overview for skills, and what it lets us do is use the skill experience we gain to unlock them. In my experience, some are much more useful than others, but they're all pretty useful in their own way. So what we'll do is we'll have another chat with him
手に入れた。
and get our first upgraded tool.
忍び騎士は騎馬じゃというたが、任を仕込むことで、その騎馬は形を変えることができるようになる。叩きたてならばし砕き、素早き敵ならば仕留め撃つ。仕込んだ任が増えるだけ、敵を殺す術も増えるから、殺す相手なりの殺し方を持つ。そういうことじゃ。
随分と詳しい。
いかんな。いつまでも血生臭いことを言うておるから仏の顔も鬼になる。これ貸してみる。わしが任務を仕込んでやろう。
こ
So yeah, so through this menu we get to affix all the different types of prosthetics. I think there are 8 in total, and the first one we get is the shuriken. So we'll just equip that one. It's a pretty useful ranged one. It's got a lot of effective uses against enemies that are in the air and enemies at a distance. You do end up gaining some skills later which allow you to close the distance pretty quick when you use the tool, but yeah, so I'll have a chat with him as well. So the next thing is the bell, which takes us to Hirata. And it's something he's going to prompt us to. The one over there. So basically an update for the Shinobi Prosthetics. And yeah, like I said, they're all reasonably useful. We've got this option now available. So I'll equip that, even though I don't have any spirit emblems to use it. And now we come to the kind-hearted Buddha. The Buddha that the Sculptor, as you can see around you, has been endlessly trying to replicate with no success. So we'll pray to this kind-faced Buddha with the bell and head to Hirata.
The journey is usually the part. It's ours. It's not.
Right, let's sit down at the idol, get our save point. Okay, so now we've got the acquiring skills option available, which is going to provide us with a tree of skills that we get by spending our skill points by slaying our enemies. There's 3 different types, as it points out: combat arts, shinobi martial arts, and latent skills. Combat arts must be equipped. Martial arts and latent skills are always in effect, and all of them are pretty useful. The most useful, in my opinion, is the Makiri counter, since it works against a wide variety of enemies, and, well, to be honest, it kind of trivializes some of the enemies. So I can't afford it just yet, so my next goal is to get to 2 skill to get Makiri counter. Alright. And here is Hirata Estate. And again, fitting in with the theme of the game, most of the game is based on vertically heading up. In this case, it's to that location there. So we'll head down here, we'll cross this bridge. Well, I say that, we'll probably just jump in the water and swim across. But let's go. So here we have one of the Tengu, which is one of the servants of a character that we'll meet later.
戦モードの年であろ
流戦モード3年前か。どういうことだ。武士の古い記憶といった何も覚えてはおらぬが、これは過去ということか。
So we just learnt that we've gone 3 years into the past to relive an old memory. So first thing we'll do is jump across and kill this guy. We got dousing powder, which helps us reduce the burn status abnormality, which comes in handy against a couple of bosses and especially toward the end of the game. So we'll run across here, we'll pick up this dousing powder as well, and then normally you've got a couple options. You can head up across the bridge and up there, which is not something I ever really do. You can deal with this fool that's crossing the bridge over here, or just yeet yourself off the side and swim most of the way. And as you can see, there's actually a gigantic fish in the water. Let's kill this guy. So it's one of the treasure carps. Now there are 42 treasure carp scales available in the game. Until about a third of the way through the game you don't get the ability to access all of them, but once you do, and the rewards for this item are pretty cool. They're pretty cool. They're just really, really skittish, and if you get too close to them, they do just flee from you. They do respawn, but they do flee. So let's head up here and kill this guy. And watch. Now, the cool thing about the dogs in this game is, provided, thanks game for the tutorial, but provided you parry them perfectly, you insta-kill. So this is going to be pretty close. Right. So in regards to the treasure carp scales, you're probably wondering, if you collect them, you got to take them somewhere, right? So over here is one of the 2 people you can bring it to, and it's pretty funny. This blue pot over here. Yes, there is a dude inside this pot. Now, if you have a look here, this guy does have a couple of pretty useful items that you can get. So Divine Grass is pretty useful. It restores all your vitality and cures any sort of issues that you're experiencing. You can only hold a limited number of them. Personally, over the years of playing this, I don't really use them a lot, but they're useful to have, I guess. The Withered Red Gourd is similar to the Healing Gourd that we've got, but it can only help, basically it stops the build burn up that you experience and increases burn resistance, but funnily enough it doesn't actually heal the burn status. It's useful to use if you think you're going to get set on fire at any point. It's probably the most useful item this guy's got, and it costs 2 scales. The Mask Fragments come in handy, but they're more of an endgame item, and the Floating Passage text is a combat art that you can get. I don't know, from personal experience, I don't really use a lot of combat arts. I've certainly played through the game enough to learn how to beat every enemy without using or spamming any sort of combat arts. Not saying that that's a bad thing, it's just something I personally don't do. So, and there's actually a pretty funny questline involving this guy and a guy that you meet later. So we'll quickly run up here, grab this. Told you, they're very skittish. Alright, so we'll get to this next idol and then we'll work our way through Harada Estate until we've got those items I need. So, up. Okay, so there's a dude with 3 dogs over there. You don't even have to fight him. like the game pretty much points out, it's kill ingeniously, so most of the time you can just skip enemies. They're not really that important to fight. So you just run over here, yeet yourself over the wall, and then you've got yourself a Sculptor's Idol, which I will commune out and reset everybody. Right, so a couple of choices here. You can head up there, there's a couple of archers, there's this dude with the torch and the sword. But there's a doorway that you can't get through over there, and it kind of leads you in a different direction as well. I find the easiest thing is just to skip over that entire section. Wait for this guy to turn around and we'll kill him. There we go. Okay, so I might have just skipped over it there, but I just picked up some oil. Now, oil, when you douse an enemy in it, when they get set alight, they take more damage from fire attacks. Now, that'll actually come in handy against 2 bosses in the game. And it does make those fights kind of easy, but we'll get to that when we get to that. First thing we'll do, though. Now, what the game tells you to do is that you have to come up here, kill these guys, and then there's a giant hole in the wall here with these guys. You don't have to fight any of them. What you can do, you've got 2 different choices. This is another way of easily skipping through this section to get the drop on those enemies, but what I've found easy is you just jump over here, jump up here, just work your way across the wall this way. Now, this is one of those places where I find myself dying fairly frequently because there's about 10 enemies. They don't come at you one at a time. They introduce a couple of new enemy types, the Axe Wielder, and yeah. For a game based about timings, that guy is literally designed to throw you off. So let's drop down here and try and thin the numbers a bit. So we'll kill this guy first. Ignore that drunk guy. Now, you may have noticed I do tend to play this game not passively so much, but I'm always relying on enemies to make the first step, because for a game based on dealing posture-based damage, if you can get them to react and you time correctly, then it doesn't matter what they do, because you just slay them. Come back here, you. Whoop. That archer saw me. Let's skip around this side here. Kill this drunk guy. Jump back. Hey, buddy. And here's the first axe guy with his super delayed attacks. Excuse me. Now, it did take me a little bit of time to learn how to time those attacks properly. Just because normally you see the wind up, and it's usually a hold 1 second, 2 seconds, then you've got your opening. So let's skip over here, get this guy. And then this guy. The dog's going to come at me first. And then this guy with the torch. That's another one down. Come on, buddy. These are more aggressive guys. And done. This area is cleaned up. Now, there's a bunch of items you can pick up in this area. Pellets. Mibu balloons of wealth, which basically increase the amount of sen that you can get. But the item that I'm here for in this area is this one here, by the fire. It's a Shinobi Prosthetic. It's going to come in handy pretty much through the entirety of the game. Let's show you the flame barrel. So basically it does exactly what it says on the label, and that label is spitting fire at enemies. Pretty simple stuff. So now we'll run up, we'll have a chat with one of the Ashina swordsmen. So that swordsman basically told us where the second important item that you can get in this section of the map is. So you come out here, you're on the main thoroughfare through Hirata. You got a couple of the guys basically banging on the door there, but you want to head down this way. Now, first thing I'll do is run down here. We'll open this door up. Give ourselves an easy way if I should die, which to this point in the game I haven't. That's just tempting fate, isn't it? And then we want to jump up here, and there's a couple of guys here. So so that's an indication that the item that we're looking for is in there. So we'll just sneak down here, clean our way through these guys. For a minute there I forgot I didn't have Mikiri counter. I was about to eat somebody's sword. That would have been less fun for the stream. Anyway, so we have this pagoda here. Pretty simple, unassuming. If you didn't know it was here, you know, you wouldn't think much of it. Open it up, and we get the Shinobi Axe of the Monkey. Now, this item comes in handy against 4 or 5 different enemies. There's a couple of different skills that take advantage of it as well. But immediately, it's going to have an effect because we've got a couple of guys with shields. But first, we'll just run over here, kill this guy. Grab another light coin purse. Oh, we've got 500 cents, so we can head back to the memorial mob shortly and pick up the firecrackers too. But as far as this goes, we've gotten to the point we need to. We'll head back to the temple. We'll upgrade our shinobi tools. We will pick up a couple of skills, and then we'll come back. So, first thing we'll do, we'll grab Mikiri counter. Again, probably the most useful skill in the game. Then we will travel back to the temple, get these tools assigned, and then we'll come back and work our way through to the second boss of the game. Well, the first boss in Hirata. Alright, let's have a chat. Right, so we'll present this, and we'll get the axe and the flame vent equipped.
その忍び義手随分
And this is where we get our second skill book.
これを取っておきな
So the prosthetic esoteric text, which allows us to learn prosthetic style skills. So those skills are much like the other ones. There's combat arts, there's shinobi martial arts, and there's latent skills. All of them are pretty useful again. Over the years I haven't really used them a lot though. I've seen some pretty cool videos of people who have, but it's not really something that I've taken advantage of in this game.
それが書いてある。要は忍び義手を使った戦いの術じゃ
わかった。
な。義手の忍び技などもはや無用と思っておったが、わからぬものよな。
Right, so
わしが本当を歌い
what we'll do is we'll head back to Hirata now
せいぜい任務を探
with our new tools equipped.
乗りかかった船で仕込むことだけはしてやる。
Cool. So now we've got access to a couple new ones. And typically when I play through, I only equip the one that I need the most at the time, which is the axe for this next area. So we'll head back to Hirata, we'll work our way up to the first boss of that area, and then that will probably be it for this stream. Let's head back to Hirata. And provided I don't do anything too silly, I probably won't die. Let's just skip over these guys, not worth the fight. Alright, so let's see if we can't bait the Mikiri counter out of this guy. Nope, that's not it. Come on. There. That's the Mikiri counter. Basically, whenever they use a thrust attack, they lead towards you, you step on it, and then that's it. Now, I've already opened up this door, so let's run all the way up. We'll do an eavesdrop, and then we will kill these two guys here and get to one of the first enemies. Okay, so you can see these bandits are trying to browbeat some of the civilians of the estate into giving them some wealth. That wasn't a good start. Alright. Hello lads. So you got the guys there with the shields. That's why I equipped the axe. Let's bait this first guy out first. There's one less guy to deal with. And then we're probably going to see one of the most satisfying animations in this entire game. Come on, buddy. Whoop. Whoop. Alright, so one of the most satisfying animations in this entire game is these shield guys. Use your axe on them, immediate follow-up to death blow. It's so satisfying to do. It really is. And it's so seamless as well, you don't even get to see the death blow icon come up. Super fun. Super fun. So, now we've got an area here where we've got a dude with a torch, there's a bowman over there, and then the first boss in this area, the dude with the white with the spear on, and that's the whole reason I picked up my Kiri counter before we even got to this point. So let's run over here, kill this guy first, run away. Now, as per most fights in Sekiro, the last thing you want to do is find yourself fighting multiple enemies without the right tools. Now, I do need to go and pick up the firecrackers at some point. They are extremely useful. And they do help against multiple enemies, but again, with this game, don't get into fights that you don't want. And here's the prompt that thrust attacks cannot be blocked, but they can be deflected. Mikiri counter also counters thrust attacks. Performing them successfully deal greater posture damage than a normal deflect. Now, this is what makes some fights in the game extremely trivial, provided that you're getting your Mikiri counters down. Ow. Yeah, thanks, game. Yeah, I gotta be careful of those two guys sniffing around on that side there. Come on, I just want to deal with you. Oh, that was a sweep. That was a sweep. Whoops, let's not die to this guy. How about that? Those other two could just disappear. That'd be super fun. And I broke the game because they're frozen. Oop. Oop. Let's get you out of the way. Alright. Problem mostly solved. Now this guy who is stuck here. One down. Problem solved. And we got our second prayer bead. Alrighty then. So, we have got through the first part of Hirata Estate. We worked our way through the first half of Ashina Outskirts. We managed to get our way to the Ashina Stairway. And we're just about to reach the bamboo path. which takes us further into the estate. And I think on that, I'll just save up. Not doing too badly. Haven't died yet. Got a couple of skills. Gonna work our way through, but I think our next stream I am probably gonna die quite a bit because we've got a few of the enemies which well, they're tough, especially for a new game player, and if they don't know what they're doing, they can find themselves dead very, very quickly. But on that, we will deal with the bamboo path, the bamboo thickets, and we'll work our way up to the main boss of this area before heading back to Ashina Outskirts and working our way through to the next half of the game. To those of you that popped on in and watched while I played, thank you so much. To those of you who may be viewing for the first time, I hope you enjoyed, and hopefully we'll continue this questionably deathless run next time. Anyway, thanks for everything, guys. Bye.